Hey you geeks! For months, the Wheel of Time on Prime fandom has been starved for content. And then following my last video, the content poured.
I'm singing in the rain, just singing in the rain.
Sifting through the deluge, I've compiled 10 things about the world of the Wheel of Time. It won't give any definite spoilers, this just compiles what has already been said. Those of you watching who are die-hard fans, this video is safe for you to share with your uninitiated friends. I am still a relative newcomer to this fandom, so I want to help bridge the gap. Before we get started, I want to remind you that I'll be doing weekly reviews of each Wheel of Time episode starting November 22nd. Please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out. The main 5. Amazon has been stressing this main group, the number of which has caused a little debate in the fandom, but we know that one of them will be the Dragon Reborn.
And it's one of the 5 of you.
You fully lost your mind.
Matt gets a knife, Nynaeve gets a braid, Rand and Egwene say they won't lose each other, and Perrin mopes.
Do you think we'll ever go back?
Who could it be? The Blood Snow. This legendary battle is where I began my Wheel of Time journey, yet it is a very poor place to start. I read the books out of order. The battle takes place between the Aiel, who we see here, with their trademark short spears on their back. In the Blood Snow, we see an Aiel wrecking a soldier from Ilion. We know it's Ilion because we see B heraldry on his breastplate. Ilion is a kingdom in the south of the continent, next to Tyr. Amazon has released this awesome interactive map which points out the kingdom of Tyr. These guys don't get a lot of snow down there, so you can safely infer that this battle happens further north. The Aiel are a large threat that make the whole world quake. And in a short snippet with Matt, we get to see what, quote, civilized people do to stray Aiel. The Oath. The show has been very keen on telling us the importance of Aes Sedai.
We protect the world.
The map tells us that Tar Valon is the seat of their power and the most influential city in the world. And of course they are.
Servants of all.
But as Rosamund Pike's latest released interview confirms, the Aes Sedai are not universally loved.
You know, people believe they're monsters, people believe they're to be feared.
Therefore, the Aes Sedai choose to limit their power in 3 ways.
I swear to speak no word that is not true, to make no weapon with which one person may kill another, and never to use the one power as a weapon.
Rafe, the showrunner, does mention that there is more to the 3rd oath in the show.
The idea is that the women of the Aes Sedai swear that they will never lie, that they won't make weapons with the one power, and that they won't use the one power as a weapon against others, except in the extreme defense of their life.
So, when we see Egwene go from defensive maneuvers to blowing stuff up, we know things must be dire indeed. Corruption. A few weeks ago, it wasn't clear if the show wanted it known that men could channel. And then the Logain teaser came out!
There have been false dragons before.
He seems to be under the impression that he, and not one of the Emond's Fielders, is the true Dragon Reborn. Putting the clues together, we know that Logain has amassed an army in Gildan. The map talks about there being a war in Gildan, and then we get this wonderful shot of someone trying to stab Logain. We can see the Gildanan coat of arms on the hilt. Also, from Rafe's explanation to IGN, we get the official reason why Logain is the only man we see channeling in the trailers.
There's a black oily slick that you see coming over it, and that is something called the corruption, and that black corruption is is something that drives male channelers mad.
This madness and mayhem is probably why our good Aes Sedai detain Logain and hold him, or at least try to. Gender roles. The world has a very interesting power dynamic. Women are the only ones who are able to safely wield the magical power, and men were, allegedly, the cause of their society's fall from paradise. As we see in our mini Wheel of Time timeline, Lews Therin was responsible for the end of the Age of Legends. When our story takes place, the world is matriarchal in the same way that the 60s was patriarchal. Not entirely bad, but not great. This power dynamic is pervasive, filtering down to even small backwater villages like the Two Rivers.
For instance, people in the Two Rivers, at the point that Moraine shows up, they've never actually met an Aes Sedai.
Yet the town is still led by the elusive women's circle.
The Two Rivers. The old blood runs deep in those mountains.
We see them walking across the hills here. We now have it confirmed by Maddie herself that her getting shoved off a cliff is Egwene's initiation into the women's circle.
This was the beginning of her initiation into the women's circle, and I felt like this was the beginning of my initiation into playing Egwene.
Thus, in a world where women are naturally in charge, having men organize and oppose the status quo is quite odd indeed. White Cloaks. The show calls them White Cloaks, which is a term from the books. Though, in their boy band shot, it's more like a white suit. And it's spotless. Kudos to the costumers. The White Cloaks are known for their hatred of Aes Sedai.
People to believe they're in league with the Dark One.
In the latest trailer, we have an Aes Sedai on the pyre. Then we see Valda walking away, wiping blood off an Aes Sedai ring. And he already has a few of those. I'll be interested to see how men with swords take down a magical wielding woman. Lastly, we have Valda sitting down and grabbing a goblet in which we can see the pyre's reflection. That's dark. Though, of course, the children of the light despise dark friends, and anyone who isn't an enlightened child is a dark friend. Peddlers and tinkers and gleemen. As our stubborn townsfolk resentfully take to the roads, there are those who already live by them. First, the peddler, Padan Fain. All we have is this photo and a reputation for bringing gossip along with his goods from town to town. Second are the tinkers. The first real tinker we see is
Aram, who's one of the tinkers, or the traveling people as they'd like to call themselves.
Tinkers are known for their bright clothing and brightly colored wagons. We got concept art for tinker wagons very early on, and the latest we've seen of them is in leaked photos where Perrin and Egwene are getting fed. Lastly, we see one gleeman, Tom Marilyn, known for his famous stringed instrument and for his way with the ladies, though I never understood the last one. Until now. Fal Dara. Astute readers of Amazon's map will note that Fal Dara is not on it. Yet we have Wraith telling us that this city is Fal Dara.
This is actually the city of Fal Dara, and in the distance beyond it, you can see Tarwin's Gap.
I will say that this is almost exactly how I imagined Tarwin's Gap, though I did not imagine Fal Dara being so close. We also get to see shots of the mighty warriors who defend Fal Dara, the Shienarans with their top-knots, and Lord Egelmeyer. The books made it very clear that Shinar and its neighboring lands had Asian flair, so we know our heroes will travel here, wherever here is. Shadow Spawn. Worse than the Dark One's friends are his servants, also known as Shadow Spawn. particularly Trollocs and Fades. We know they attack the two rivers, and now we have it confirmed that they will attack Rand and his father Tam at home. And we get to see Tam wielding his legendary sword, going toe-to-toe with Narg. The next day we see Rand leading his horse Bella into town with Tam wounded on her back. As the main 5 or 4 or whatever meets in the center of town,
What are those?
we see more shadow spawn amassing atop a hill, led by a Fade, one of these beauties. The shadow spawn teaser also gave us the simple rule.
Then you can't outrun a Fade.
Chilling. The ways. In true Wheel of Time fashion, let's end at a beginning. This beginning is the first promo pic we got this summer, the Waygate. We now see our heroes gathering at the Waygate, and notice they found a new curly-haired friend to help them on their journey.
Once they do walk through that gate, what meets them on the other side is pretty terrifying.
From leaked photos, we can see a darkness rippling between the pillars. Then this unfinished shot of the band in some place very dark that I don't think is Shadar Logoth. We also have this other shot of another Waygate with snow on the ground, much like where I began my journey on the Wheel of Time. As the show progresses, I hope we can be good traveling companions as we watch the wheel weave what the wheel wills. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe if you would like to see more. Your patronage is greatly appreciated.